Yo, it's OAC podcast number 8. This time we're talking coaching, a little bow hunting, just some updates. Enjoy. Alright guys, well, I am recording this podcast solo. I am driving to the mecca of all archery, Lancaster Archery Supply. I'm extremely blessed to live close to there. I am on my way to co-instruct / train the trainer type of ordeal with the USA Level 4 and Junior Dream Team coach Larry Wise and his good companion and partner Doc McCune, who's part of the Level 3 certification that I took. So, the reason I'm going down there is it's all kind of part of the process of expanding your archery knowledge, working with the people who are currently doing what you wish to do. It's part of the process to be able to teach the level 3, as well as, for me, my goal is to get my level 4. I'm not so sure if I'll do level 5. But the level 4 certification requires a visit to Chula Vista, where the Olympic Training Center is. You have to do basically like a practical exam / evaluation directly in front of Coach Lee, the head coach for the U.S. Olympic team, and stuff like that. So, there's as you go through the certification process, there's fewer and fewer coaches. There's lots of level 1, level 2s, quite a few level 3s. Level 4s, it starts to dwindle down. Level 5s, it's, I'm sure a handful. So that's what's up. That's what's going on. I figured I'd take advantage of the opportunity. Instead of listening to a podcast, which is what I did last night, I'd record a podcast. I have 2 podcasts coming up that you're going to want to listen to. I just got done messaging with Luke Allison from Tooth of the Arrow Broadheads. He's going to be a guest here shortly, probably this weekend. We're probably going to try to do it one evening after I leave. And get home, and it's a constant grind. And then the other one was with my good friend Mitch Stokes. He's the head coach and owner of CrossFit Fluid. He's a bow hunter as well when he has time. We're just gonna talk. There's this huge trend, this huge quote unquote fitness trend. You see all these people tagging mountain ops and shooting the total archery challenge and doing all of these things, and everybody's pursuing their own level of fitness. But we're gonna kind of talk about what truly is fitness and why bow hunters should absolutely make it a point to pursue it, how it affects them, how it affects their archery. Stuff like that, and their bow hunting and whatnot. But today, one of the reasons that I wanted to record this is, besides kill time till I get to Lancaster, is there's a myth amongst the bow hunting world that, I don't need a coach, or I don't need to improve, I only shoot one shot, or, that doesn't all apply when the deer stand in front of me, or, my stance isn't important because when I'm shooting out of a tree stand, who knows what direction a deer's going to come from, or, there's a lot of variables. When you're bow hunting, you don't know. You're going to shoot from your knees. You don't know if you're going to be shooting from a standing position in a tree stand, sitting in a tree stand, sitting in a blind. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. And we always talk about nothing replaces practice. blah, 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 blah. And yes, there's some truth to that statement. However, that's a little bit of a misleading statement. And for those of you out there that love archery and you love shooting and you could shoot 300 arrows a day, and I see these comments on Facebook and, these people, I shoot all the time, and, that's good. That's great stuff. However, I saw a wonderful quote earlier this week from Crystal Gavin, who is one of our team members for our USA Archery team and the national team. And it was basically, to put it extremely bluntly and simple, her post was basically quality versus quantity. And what I mean by that is the quality of shots that you are shooting in archery are more important than the quantity. That doesn't just come down to practice. That comes down to how you practice. That comes down to the steps, the mental preparation, the physical ability for you to execute your shot. So just saying, my bow fits me good enough, or just saying, hey, I'm good enough to hunt, that really isn't good enough. And I think there's a little bit of a misguided, I don't know what the word is, opinion that's put out there, and I think part of it starts with inexperienced bow shops and likewise the big box stores, that, hey, you're on paper, you're good enough. And let's be real, when is good enough really enough? If you're really passionate about it, the answer is never. And I don't know how, I don't know where the bridge is, I don't know where the notion is to, share this with your friends and try to get the message across to the droves of bow hunters across the nation, because that's probably, I think, in my opinion, one of the biggest misconceptions amongst the bow hunting community is that pie plate accuracy is good enough. Well, as a coach, as a bow hunter, as a target archer, I want pinpoint accuracy, not pie plate accuracy. And it's probably my biggest pet peeve when people are like, I shoot good enough, or I do this. Let's face it. If you say that it's good enough and you're content with just, I've shot a whole bunch of deer at 10, 15 yards, yes, then you're a good hunter. You're a great hunter. If you're getting that close all the time, all year, every year, that's great. But what happens that one time? The buck of a lifetime. It's at 35, 38, 40 yards. You really want to take the shot. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Do you want to rely on your 15-yard experience out of the tree stand, or months and months and months of preparation, bow tuning, and muscle memory at 35, 38 yards at a 200-inch deer? I guess that's where this podcast is coming from. That's what I want to express, the idea that don't be afraid of saying to someone who has more experience than you or has gone out. Yeah, certifications don't mean everything. Education doesn't mean everything. Experience means a ton. Arguably maybe 80% of the knowledge base that, like, I have, for example. I might have a whole bunch of coaching certifications. I might have a couple of degrees. But experience definitely plays a huge part. And the ability to communicate also as a coach. And I think many adults are afraid to ask for help, or their egos get in the way, or the idea that, hey, maybe I will learn something new, and to spend 20, 25, $30 on an hour session to work with a coach, be be picky with the coaches that you pick. I mean, I do the online coaching and form analysis through OAC. I don't push it too much, but I've done it quite a few times. And, I mean, I could give you testaments of at least a dozen people that I worked with over the last couple of years with the help of a couple other coaches that really made drastic improvements. And you got to do form analysis. The archer needs to be willing to take video and take it from the 3 different coaching positions. And I mean, it really depends on how motivated they are. I think that's the one thing that you run into the most is that archers will be gung-ho, let's do this, or they're afraid to do it, their ego gets in the way, and, the idea that, I'm good enough takes over. So whether you decide to do the online coaching or just the video analysis, or you choose to go get a coach of your own, do I think that, going to a level 2 coach isn't necessarily what you need? Not necessarily. It depends on what they're doing. If they're a level 2 coach and they're coaching Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, probably not. If they're a level 2 coach and they happen to be coaching a JOAD and have kids that are, or assistant coaches, or they're a solid shooter themselves, then yeah, you should talk to that coach. If they have kids that are in national rankings or winning state tournaments, or I think that there's enough. There's a solid foundation there that you could probably go work with that person. A lot of times coaches, they're coaching to run a youth program. They're not coaching to make money, or they're not running an archery academy like my wife and I do. Archery for me, I love the sport. That's the way. I have an absolute positive passion for the sport. That carries over to the coaching, the competing, and the bow hunting. So teaching that and talking about it and I wouldn't be doing this podcast. Those are the type of people that you want to go after, the people that you should feel confident in. If you're going to spend the money to get some coaching, just take the dive and do it. Now, what I wanted to say is that the reason that you should do that, and the whole premise for this podcast, is for the bow hunters out there. I get it that you go to 3D shoots. If you can hit the 10, you are absolutely happy. You're going to 3D shoots in a non-pressure situation, maybe with some buddies, and you're ragging on each other. I know the guys from OAC, from Hoosier Daddies, they shoot together. They chomp on each other's ass more than anybody in our entire competition, and they do it to each other. It's absolutely hilarious. But that's not real pressure. That's not stress. That's not anxiety. And the reason you should get a coach, and you should refine your archery shot, you should refine your method, you should make sure that your bow is tuned to absolute perfection. And there's guys out there, I do it, but I still don't do it to the level that my friend Rod White. Rod is a bow tuning magician. The guy, and he's really, it all started with Hoyt, but I know he's got plenty of experience with Matthews and PSE and a few others, and he's, use the wealth of information from guys like him, or myself. There's a lot of options out there. And the reason you want to get that coaching, you want to work on your shooting form, you want to be more accurate, is because when it comes time to make that one shot, when it comes time that you get that opportunity to shoot a deer, any deer,